All right, so the next one here, Taiwan signs deal with the U.S. to buy 1,000 attack drones. So Taiwan's defense ministry has signed an agreement with the U.S. to purchase 1,000 attack drones from two American companies, AeroVironment and Anduril Industries, and this was reported by Bloomberg on Monday. The report said Taiwan signed a letter of offer and acceptance in September, and that's a step that comes before contracts are signed and like they agree on the number of drones and the cost. And those are expected to be signed soon, the contracts. So back in June, there was a similar sale. The State Department approved a deal worth $360 million for about 1,000 attack drones produced by these two companies. The sale included 291 Altius 600M systems, which are produced by Anduril, and 720 Switchblade drones produced by AeroVironment. China responded to the sale by issuing sanctions on some of the weapons makers and executives involved. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Zhan was pointed out these sanctions on Tuesday when he was asked about the new potential sale. So he was asked about this. There's a report that Taiwan's defense ministry signed this, and he said in response, quote, Taiwan is a province of China, and there is no such thing as Taiwan's Ministry of Defense. China's firm opposition to the military contact between the U.S. and Taiwan is consistent and clear. The two U.S. companies you mentioned and relevant senior executives in charge are under sanctions by China, end quote. So both of these drones, these types of drones are kamikaze drones, which means they crash into their target and explode. They carry small warheads, and these types of drones have been used extensively in Ukraine. Ukraine produces a lot of their own, and that's what they launch all these strikes with. And I bet the ones that they produce, the thing about these small drones is that they're really cheap. I mean, these ones don't sound too cheap, $360 million for about 1,000, but I think they could probably be made for much less money, or a different version, something similar. So, I don't know if you guys have seen these videos. You see these videos once in a while of a Ukrainian or Russian soldier kind of being stalked by a drone, and they're trying to run away and avoid it. And I've seen somewhere it ends with the person being killed. I saw one recently where in like a last ditch effort, the guy threw his rifle at the drone and that exploded it far enough away from him that it didn't kill him. So really kind of dystopian stuff, these little drones. And we're seeing them used a lot in Russia and Ukraine. But the U.S. has really big plans for these little drones when it comes to preparing for war with China. And this is something that just terrifies me. Admiral Samuel Paparo, the head of U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, he said earlier this year that the U.S. is planning to create a hellscape. That's what he called it, a hellscape of aerial drones, drone boats, and unmanned submarines in the Taiwan Strait if China attacks Taiwan. He said, quote, I want to turn the Taiwan Strait into an unmanned hellscape using a number of classified capabilities so that I can make their lives utterly miserable for a month, which buys me the time for the rest of everything, end quote. So basically saying when China first attacks, unleash this hellscape of drones. And in the meantime, the U.S. is going to start sending more forces to the region for a more conventional naval battle, I guess. But, I mean, man, and this, I think, is probably part of the thinking of selling Taiwan these types of drones. They're talking about sending thousands in the sky. I mean, it's just absolutely dystopian stuff here. And these are active plans. Last year, Kathleen Hicks, the Deputy Secretary of Defense, she might have recently resigned or retired or something. I might have her confused with somebody. But anyway, this was last year that she outlined a plan to deploy thousands of drones controlled by artificial intelligence known as the Replicator initiative. And this is what she said, quote, with Replicator, we're beginning with all domain attributable autonomy, or ADA2, to help us overcome China's advantage in mass. More ships, more missiles, more forces, end quote. She added that the U.S. plans to deploy the drones, quote, at a scale of multiple thousands in multiple domains within the next 18 to 24 months. And so this is something That was September 2023, so more than a year ago. So this is something within the next year we might see. I don't know, the U.S. deploying these small drones. Maybe we won't even really be aware of it, that they're sending all this stuff over there. And the U.S., as I talk about, this is another thing I really need to cover more, is these escalations in the Asia-Pacific. The U.S. is openly preparing for a future war with China. Direct war. They're talking about a direct war with China despite the risk of nuclear war. And the U.S. Navy just recently unveiled a plan to be prepared for war by 2027. And the U.S. is just completely ignoring any of China's concerns. They're constantly calling Taiwan a red line. U.S. just continues to increase support, both military and diplomatic, for Taiwan.